All right, but that's why I'm the last person.
Heads up, we're ready to go? Did we get a yes, indeed, we are. All right, everyone. Thanks for being here on this hot day. I'd like to say this is going to be a brief press conference, but we have a lot to report, so we'll do our best. First thing I want to point out is we selected today's location because we are right in front of the soon-to-be open Huntsman Mental Health Institute Campus of Hope, and this facility is truly game-changing. The construction site behind us represents significant progress in our human services, homelessness, and criminal justice system, yet we know that many gaps remain. And to address those gaps, Salt Lake County has mapped out the broader system impacting homelessness and developed a comprehensive plan. Homelessness is a national concern that impacts thousands of individuals. It's a concern in every city and town in our state and nation. We want the public to know that Salt Lake County is taking action on a very challenging situation that's causing disruption for our community and is heartbreaking for those living without shelter. Our process has included significant input from a variety of partners both inside and outside of Salt Lake County. Among them are Sheriff Rosie Rivera, District Attorney Sim Gill and their teams, and at Salt Lake County we've included incredible staff who work in the fields of human services, housing, and in other areas. We've consulted with our county council and understand that this challenge is not partisan and we are working together. We have relied on the partnership of many community members and nonprofit organizations. Several are with us today. We have reviewed successes in other communities, including Miami-Dade County in Florida and Washington County, Oregon. And we are learning from experts and partners throughout the county on what works and what doesn't. This plan is Salt Lake County's roadmap for the future as we seek to implement cost savings and effective solutions to homelessness. We also are seeking to strengthen our human services system and our justice system. Our vision is that homelessness is brief, rare, and non-reoccurring. And our goals are to bolster system access, increase cost savings. We are seeking to collaborate and find efficiencies, require accountability for criminal acts, yet not criminalize the very act of simply being homeless. So challenges and solutions, and you have a detailed report. We're proud of that report, but I'm going to highlight very high level what's within that report. We know we need to build more affordable and supportive housing. We estimate that there are at least 1,000 individuals living unsheltered in Salt Lake County at any one time. To address this, we have set a bold benchmark in bringing an additional 1,000 units online in the next 5 years. That includes 300 new group home units for the seriously and persistently mentally ill, 300 units of new permanent supportive housing for people with mental illness, and 400 new permanent supportive housing units for people experiencing homelessness. Next, our community does not have enough behavioral health staff support. This is a tough field to work in, and we need to expand trained mental health workers and recruit additional positions from caseworkers to psychiatrists, everything in between. And we need to keep and support the very people that are doing the hardest work, the day-to-day workers. They need our support. Additionally, we know that drugs are getting deadlier. Let me say that again. We know that drugs are getting deadlier and they are more available. This is a nationwide problem, and we're facing that also here at home. We simply must break up the cartels and stop dealers. And to do so, we need more targeted enforcement. We plan to add additional drug enforcement agency officers in our community. Just last month, 2 were lost through the UPD breakup, and we funded those at Salt Lake County. We need to add more. Additionally, our region needs additional training and more coordination for law enforcement. More of our police officers are getting called out to address mental health matters. This plan calls for investment in law enforcement education and training. In addition, the new receiving center behind us will provide an alternative to jail for those experiencing mental health crisis. So the system as a whole needs better coordination. We have committed governmental leaders, not just here at Salt Lake County, but our cities, the state. And what we really need to do is stop working in isolation. We need to be more deliberately coordinated. So we plan to invest in integrated data systems, planning, and coordination. These efficiencies will save taxpayers dollars. So to our jail. Our jail is currently, and our jail's just right here, as you all know, it is currently the largest mental health facility in our county. And mental health management is not what it is intended to do. Our jail is run by an amazing sheriff, but it needs more resources. It has become the de facto system to serve people experiencing homelessness who have behavioral health and substance use disorders. Our plan surrounding future changes to the jail is absolutely revolutionary and game-changing. It plans to add mental health beds, and a modernized facility is what we will end up building in a way that supports inmates' mental health needs and their healing. And it aims to keep them from coming back once they're released. So I'll tell you what is incredibly amazing as we looked at the needs for the jail is a proposition, a plan to add a 100-bed jail step-down facility that will support an inmate's transition back to the community. We looked at one that's similar up in Washington County, Oregon, where inmates are connected to community-based solutions. They're able to go out and work during the day and come back, support services, behavioral health services, and all the while, prior to their release, they're able to identify permanent housing options and return each night to a secure facility. This focuses on accountability and successful reentry. So perhaps the most integral part of this plan is another innovative solution to support services and housing stabilization. We're proposing that we build a new Justice and Accountability Center. We're calling it the JACK. This facility will provide for an intervention for people currently cycling throughout the criminal justice system and homelessness by providing transitional housing, behavioral health stabilization, and wraparound support services. Also training and connecting people to community treatment and the very support that they need to prevent them from returning to our jail or experiencing homelessness. The goal is to stabilize each individual and create an environment where they will be able to thrive and find stable housing in the community. So that's a lot, but it's important to note that we are already making progress. Since November of 2023, we've opened 69 group home beds with progress towards 40 more this year. We have nonprofit partners like Volunteers of America, who will speak later, and we have established about 90 units of permanent supporting housing for those with serious mental illness. So I want to take a minute. The people right here are they're the experts, they're the staff that have showed up every week, if not every day, working on this. We come together monthly. We know that this plan is going to change, but it is a benchmark, it's a roadmap. It'd be great if we didn't have a changing population, but indeed we do. This is our roadmap. It will change over the years, but it gives us confidence that we can tackle this community concern and really get people on the right path. This bold plan will require investments. It's going to require funding. We're looking at, we will be relying on Medicaid, opioid settlement dollars, grants. We're looking at every option right now, including internal funds, state funds, federal funds, and philanthropic support. The first step was to build this plan, but now we're putting it into practice with purpose, partnership, and urgency. So I want to thank today's speakers. You're going to hear from several. They're working day in and day out, either on the policy level, many of them hands-on with this population. We could not do this without a broad list of partners. And while this comprehensive proposal leans into the authority of Salt Lake County, we fully recognize that other cities, the state, private partners, they're out working too. They're implementing their own plans. Those solutions are additive to what we're doing, and together we can lean into our goal. We will realize our goal that homelessness is brief, rare, and non-reoccurring. We're all in this together. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, the Council Chair, Laurie Stringham, for a few words. And do you want me to, like...
I know, that's so sad. I should have been doing that for you. I'm very excited to be here today. Homelessness is one of the biggest issues that we as people who love our communities and love the people that live in face on a regular basis. We see them out in our communities, we see them out in our neighborhoods, we see them everywhere. We may even know them because they're part of our own families, and they are couch surfing, they are moving from place to place, or they are right now in transition due to some setbacks in the lives that they are dealing with at this time. So these are all important things that we are, as a community, understand. But we need to understand that homelessness is not a simple problem in any way, shape, or form. It's an issue that we have to approach from every single angle. And we need government, we need private, we need business, we need churches, we need community organizations, and we need everyday citizens involved. Some of what we love about this new plan that's been put together and we're moving forward with is it's going to allow for all of those bits and pieces to come into play in that process, and that is a big deal. One of the things we have to grasp and understand as a community, and especially as citizens, is that the causes of homelessness are not a simple thing. It isn't just affordable housing, although that plays a big role into it right now, but it's also about job loss. It's about divorce. It's about mental illness. It's about physical disabilities. It's about substance abuse, and it's about violence in the community around us and in our homes. And because of that, we have to take a multi-prong approach. Mayor Wilson just spoke about government aspects of our plan. She covered the enforcement. She covered DEA, which is a vital thing. Getting drugs off the street, getting our streets safer that way will help us actually bring some of those numbers and bring down those who are not yet in our system because they haven't started that pathway yet. That's vital to some of this plan. Our Justice and Accountability Center is also vital because it's a step-down approach, but it's a place where people have choices. They can work their way up into the system, or they can work their way out of the system. That is vital, and they have a choice in where they go. And that is also another step that's huge in this plan. We have systemic gaps. She talked about the ones that we have in government, but we also have systemic gaps in how we work with all of our local resources, our churches, our nonprofits. We are all doing what we can to the best of our ability, but that look, and I'm thrilled that she's pulled these groups together, because now we can actually analyze who's doing what and where are we missing pieces, and those are part of this plan that she's got moving forward, and again, that's vital as well. The last thing I want to talk about really quickly in this is that this is a nonpartisan issue. Homelessness affects every single one of us. I currently have a child moving home right now, just finished school, can't afford to live on their own, lost their roommate, and now has to move home with me. And this is somebody who's been on their own for a number of years now and will be home for a period of time. It's the world we live in. There's a lot of families that are bringing kids home, and even married kids home, because they can't afford the housing locally. We need business to step up. We need our developers willing to take maybe a little bit less of a cut if they're willing to help people get into homes. As we start seeing things come together, we can actually solve this problem and make homelessness a moment in time instead of a lifestyle, and that's vital right now. Thank you. I'll turn the time over to my colleague, Amy Winder-Newton.
Well, thank you for being here today. This is a plan that we've been working on with a variety of stakeholders. And what I love about this is that this isn't a partisan issue. This isn't a Democrat or a Republican issue. It's not a liberal or conservative issue. This is a Utah and Salt Lake County issue that we are all needing to deal with. And so as we work together on this, we're going to see great success, I have no doubt. In Salt Lake County, we do a lot of great things. We have libraries, we have parks and rec, we have so many fun things, but over 70% of our general fund budget is criminal justice related.
And so this is really important for us as we look at how are we going to ensure the best outcome for humans in our county, but also save taxpayer dollars down the road. And that's what this does for us. This is a great mix of compassion and accountability. It's not compassionate to allow people to live on the streets. It's not compassionate to allow the drug cartels to target our populations. It's not compassionate to only have a jail or an ER as a place for people to get mental health help. This is about real solutions. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I just want to talk a little bit touch on what the mayor indicated about our jail being the largest mental health facility in the state of Utah. We've been talking about this for many, many years, and I feel like this plan is going to help. All of the systems involved in this plan addresses several needs that we're seeing in our jail. Those who are unsheltered, those who suffer from mental health issues, those who suffer from substance abuse disorders, and then also violent criminals. So not only are we going to try to address all of those, but we're going to bring the systems together so individuals who rotate in and out of our facility will now have a place to go when they're being released from jail, and the goal is that they don't come back, that they have enough resources available to them that they don't come back. This frees up our facility for violent offenders, and that's really what we need to be addressing: our drugs on our streets, the violent offenders, keeping our community safe. But at the same time, we know that what we're doing at our facility currently is housing a lot of individuals, that there are better places for them. And I'm very supportive of this project, and I just want to thank the mayor and the council for putting so much time and effort into it, and including law enforcement. This is truly going to help us, and that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sim Gill. I'm the Salt Lake County District Attorney. And Mayor, thank you for the privilege to come and share some thoughts with you. And I am very excited. And I guess I'm going to betray my age a little bit, because over 23 years ago, I've been a prosecutor for 30 years. About 23 years ago is when we first opened the very first mental health court in the state of Utah. And that was a very bold step, looking at therapeutic justice. But then we also realized very quickly, while that may address one aspect of it, you can't do it alone, because there are systemic partners that are critical to its ultimate success. So it's not about simply prosecuting somebody and holding them accountable and even getting them access to medical services. It's about building an infrastructure of support so they have continued success. So I'm really excited to see a systemic approach. So having all these people who are here, because when we fail in our community and that crisis happens, unfortunately, historically, our response has always been a law enforcement response. And I get it, and I understand it. But it's because we have not had viable options that have been available to us in a structured way where we can start to build the resiliency of our community, and more importantly, the resiliency of people who we find intersecting with our criminal justice system. And that neglect historically has disproportionately impacted communities of color and poverty. And they're the ones who then cycle through our criminal justice system. So I'm excited because we are actually doing things in a very positive way, and in a much more systemic, now in a collaborative way, where it is really about impacting the entire system. But I also want to just emphasize, while data is fantastic, and the statistics are great, that we not forget the human component of what is involved in this. One of the earliest worst calls that I ever took as a prosecutor was that when we created mental health court, that I had a mother who called me as the prosecutor. And she said, Mr. Gill, my husband and I are getting older. We have a son who is mentally ill. We don't know how to take care of him, let alone the resources in our community. So I'm calling to ask you, which felonies can I have my son commit so he can be introduced to your mental health court? Our community should not be looking to our jail and our criminal justice system as the mean of therapeutic obligation and responsibility that we have. I understand how we have gotten here, but what I really appreciate is a collaboration of people who understand that not everyone needs to be through the pathway of the criminal justice system. So this is an effort based on science, based on collaboration, to create meaningful but accountable off-ramps for those who find themselves intersecting with the criminal justice system. It is about building the resiliency of our community partners, so we are reaching to them at that phase. It is about responding to them in the criminal justice system when they find themselves intersecting with that. And it's also living up to our collective responsibility to help them transition away from them with structured support for those who are the most in need of that. And in that sense, nobody's being coddled, everybody's being held accountable, but we're also making smart decisions based on data and supported by data. And for dollar, that is going to be a better return on investment than simply locking people up. You heard the mayor mention, you heard the sheriff talk about. But here's the historical fact. The largest mental health facility in the United States of America is the LA County Jail. The second largest is Rikers Island. The third largest is the Cook County Jail. By default, we have reduced our criminal justice system to be the mental health provider at the most expensive cost dollar investment that we make. And it does not need to be that way. That is what excites me so much about this. It is a collaborative partnership with treatment providers, by case managers, with law enforcement. Our receiving center, our Huntsman mental health partners, the project that has been soft open is demonstrating both numerically and statistically that if you make the option of taking individuals who are in a state of crisis, you don't have to book them at the county jail. You can get them the medical support services that they need. And what this program recognizes beyond treatment is that housing and shelter is one of the most important aspects that needs to be invested for the most acutely needs, and especially our SPIMI population. So I'm excited. I'm excited because for 30 years we've been doing it the same way, and I'm frankly tired, and I want us to do something different. And I'm excited because I have a partnership of stakeholders who are genuinely committed to doing something fundamentally different that is going to be transformational for us in the therapeutic justice and in the criminal justice model. And at the end of the day, it does two things. It keeps our promise to the community about safety, and more importantly, it returns the dignity and respect to those, but other than the status of their mental illness or their accident of a loss of space, are given the respect so they can transition into our community in a safe way. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everyone, for letting me be part of this and bringing a collaborative approach. I'm excited, as you can tell, and let's get to it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Kevin Curtis, and I'm a leader with the Huntsman Mental Health Institute, and it's a huge honor and privilege to be here with this group of people collaborating to solve these problems. The plan being talked about today is a plan about where we hope to be 5 years from now, but it's also a story of seeds planted yesterday. It's a story of the things that we do today to grow those into what tomorrow can bear fruit to help feed the needs of our community. And behind us is a visual indication of some of those seeds planted that are growing and preparing to be part of this collaborative solution. Salt Lake County and the Huntsman Mental Health Institute, which is part of University of Utah Health, have been collaborators for many years. We've been gardening together for a long time. One of the seeds that has been planted is this building that stands behind us. And a seed that was also planted alongside that was when the mayor and her team worked with the county council to unanimously fund development of a pilot program that would help support what we're trying to do at the Crisis Care Center behind us. And I've been responsible for both developing this program and implementation of the pilot. And through that process, I've been able to collaborate not just with the county team, but with treatment providers, the DA's office and DA Sim Gill, and many, many other collaborators to figure out how this all works. And through the process of that pilot, we've seen fruit. We have developed and implemented jail diversion protocols with the DA and his team and with law enforcement leaders. We are already diverting people unnecessarily from the jail and into treatment pathways so that they can get the care that they need while reducing strain on the criminal justice system. We've reduced strain on the healthcare system while also giving our law enforcement officers more tools to compassionately respond to community members that they come across in crisis. 60% of our law enforcement drop-offs in the pilot are people that would otherwise have been sent to the emergency room. They're able to receive care with us at lower cost, with greater quality and better outcomes, and have a better experience. 28% of the people that law enforcement drop off are coded as, in the statistics, as people that would not have received any other services. They would have been left in place. So this is 28% of people that have a new access to treatment that they wouldn't have otherwise. And then ultimately, we've just seen and helped a lot of people. In fact, just shy of 3,000 people have been served by the Receiving Center pilot. And it's not just for police. 1,800 of those were community members who were having a mental health crisis, who were able to show up, say, I'm having a hard time and I need help, and we were able to get them started in treatment and connected to supports and services. So when we come together and we garden together, we plant seeds together, and we invest in that way in our community, we grow. And on the back of these fruits that are starting to be born, we have the full confidence that we can grow that into the Campus of Hope and the Kem and Carolyn Gardner Mental Health Crisis Care Center, where we can do the same work even better and serve more and more people through that process. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Susan Pinniger, and I am the Division Director for Volunteers of America, and I oversee the ACT programs for our agency. ACT stands for Assertive Community Treatment. It's a fidelity and evidence-based program that is highly successful for people with severe mental illness. So we take people onto our teams and we provide wraparound care, and we try to keep them stable in the community. One of the things that I'm most excited about the programs that we're doing here is that we will be bringing online more boarding home availability. It's great for our teams when we were able to take people and house them and then provide wraparound services for them. We recently took somebody onto our team who we were able to take right from Huntsman Mental Health Institute and put them right into a group boarding home. Had we not been able to do that, that person would have gone back to shelter, where they're less likely to be stable, and then it's a lot more work. So we're able to take people after they've received treatment and put them directly in a place that's going to be far more supportive for them. The same thing is true for Salt Lake County Jail. When we are able to take somebody out of jail, put them directly into housing, we keep them far more stable. We're excited about the things that we're able to do, and we're excited about the Receiving Center also, how that's going to fit into the services that we provide for in the community. So thank you.
All right, well, maybe a couple of questions before we all go into an air-conditioned environment, hopefully. Anyone have questions?
Mayor, I have a question.
Sure.
This relates to homelessness. You're aware of Denver's program to send migrants to Utah. Should that program end? And if so, what are you doing?
Yeah, so that's outside the boundaries of what we're discussing today. So I'm happy to say that I support federal change. I know everyone here does as well. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting for Congress to act as it relates to our border and needs on the border. And I would just say, I think that the population that we host in Salt Lake County of people in need are not always born right in our backyard. And the reality of a world where we can hop on an airplane and get to visit relatives far away, or maybe take an occasional overseas trip, means that we see a lot of movement of people, not just for the good reasons, but for the challenging reasons. I don't think it's appropriate for any community to pass off people to another community, but I do understand the frustration of local officials when we see a challenge of a lot of growth and demand in their communities. No, we have not. Okay, any questions? We gave you a lot today. I appreciate you. We're available through Chris and our communications teams for any follow-up that you may have as you unpack this proposal. We will be reporting over time how we're doing. I mentioned that things will shift, so it's a plan that we believe in, but we also understand